Hello. This is wait, no, hold on. That doesn't sound right. Welcome to the most must listen to show on the internet. Welcome to AEG. I am your host, JB, and I have Dalton with me.
What's up, everybody? It's been a long time.
Yes, it has, and Gustavo is also here.
Hey, you kind of reminded me of Casey from Nintendo Voice Chat. Hello.
Hello. Why, hello there. But yeah. No, yes. Thank you guys for tuning in, and this is our Death Stranding Spoilercast.
Let's welcome back our venerated host, Jeff. He's finally back.
Thank you, Goose. Thank you.
He did not
so
die.
Much. Nope, I was not dead.
No,
I was here, just not. I haven't died yet, quite yet. You know, getting there. But
it was a resurrection. It was a resurrection of sorts.
There you go.
But yes, took some much needed R&R, and I'm back to talk some Death Stranding. So we're gonna kind of talk the pros, the cons, what we liked, what we didn't like, story, spoilers, everything. There's nothing off limits. We're gonna talk whatever the hell we feel like about Death Stranding. So if you haven't beaten the game, don't listen to this.
Correct.
Yeah. And I just want to be fair to Jeff real quick before we get too much into this. We have not put out an episode in like 3 weeks, so we apologize for that.
We've been horrible.
Part of the reason was Death Stranding, though. It's so we could get together and put this awesome episode together for you guys.
Yeah, I definitely I feel like we all took some much needed some rest and relaxation times. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I was being lazy as fuck.
Hey, you like we said before the show, you deserve to be lazy. You worked your ass off all summer, so.
Yeah,
this is true.
But we're back now, so.
Yes. So let's talk some Death Stranding.
Yeah, for sure. Death Stranding came out November 8th, about a month ago. Right now, we're about a month removed from the release date, so we've had some time. Beat the game about 2 weeks ago, I would say. So you guys about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so we've had some time to digest the game, play through it. I platinumed it, so I played a little bit more than these guys. But yeah, first of all, let's dive into the story a little bit because it was so. Goose said it before the show. It's so divisive. I think the story played a part in that. I know the gameplay was a big part of it, but
yeah, for sure.
Before we get into the gameplay, because that's probably the most divisive part of it. But the story, like, how did you guys feel when you were playing through that story?
I mean, I feel like it was very much breadcrumbs. Like each episode. I mean, there are 14 episodes in the game, and I feel like as it progresses, there's little breadcrumbs that keep, at least for me, kept making me want to keep going. Like, we'll get to it, but like the gameplay wasn't the biggest draw for me. Honestly, I wanted to know what was happening. I wanted to know, will Sam be able to connect the world? Will he be able to do, all the things that he has set out to do?
Yeah. Your phone cut off there for a second, but I think you finished the sentence.
Yes, sorry. My daughter interrupted me.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
Hey, Audrey.
We're family people here. AEG, we all have stuff going on. So if you ever hear background noise in any of our episodes, it is what it is.
Right.
Our kids, our dogs.
Yep. And that's part of AEG, so.
Yeah, friendly show.
We're not editing that shit out.
Nope.
But yeah, see, actually, when I first started playing, pretty much through the whole way, I'm thinking like there's gonna be a big catch to connecting all these worlds. Something shitty is gonna happen, and I was just waiting for it, and I don't think it did. Ultimately, it didn't, but the whole time, man, I'm just like, where's the catch here? Where's the catch with connecting all these people together? Something fucked up's gonna happen.
Right. Yeah, and honestly, I mean, did it though? I mean, it did, but like the ending kind of.
Yeah, it's so hard to start this episode because like the story was so. I mean, it was a longer.
There's
story.
so much. Yeah, and there's so much setup that you have to kind of. I mean, obviously the people listening to this have played through the game and kind of have more of a gist of what's going on, but like, there's so much like you can't just be like this game is this in a nutshell. Like, there's so much. Kojima honestly built this world as opposed to building a story. He built a world and then added a story into it, I would say. Like, there's so many things, there's so many different little things that you have to learn about, the characters and the world and then the story from that. It's like you said, Dalton, it's very hard to kind of articulate my thoughts on everything.
Yeah, for sure.
The story drew me in right away. The gameplay drew me in right away. To Jeff's point, what Kojima did, I think, was astounding. I mean, to build a brand new IP and just establish a world and these characters and these terms that you had to come to grips with. Like when the game starts off, you have Sam, and then I think the first character he meets is Fragile, who has one of the worst lines in video games. I'm fragile, but I'm not that fragile. Like,
yeah, that was pretty damn eye rolling. I will say
it was cringy, but I think one of the first lines she's like, "Oh, you have dooms." I'm like, "What the fuck is dooms?" And then there's like this new element called chiralium or whatever. It's just like this exposition. It's like info dump over and over and over again. And I think again, it sort of reminds me of Quantum Break a little bit in terms of if you really, really want to understand a story, you have to just take your time and read through some of these emails and read through some of these interviews that are rich in exposition. And it's not an elegant way to showcase a story or tell the story, but unfortunately it's just the way it's done in this medium, for better or for worse. So I would use the times where I just needed a break, like a mental break from making deliveries, and I'd sit on whatever, that hub underneath one of the depots or whatever, and just read through the text and read through the interviews. I'm like, oh, that's what that means. Okay, that's what they're talking about. Okay, that's what the Death Stranding was, right? It was this event, this supernatural event in which the world thought they were like fighting each other, but it wasn't that. It was like the dead coming alive, or not coming alive, but the dead sort of interacting with the world of the living, and they would like consume the living, and it was set up like this catastrophic nuclear type detonation, and that was the Death Stranding.
I had to do the same thing with what you mentioned, Dooms. Like that was one of the big things where I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, and so I did the same thing. I even actually looked up a lot of stuff, not just in the game, because yes, there are a lot of like texts in the game where you can kind of research some of these terms that they're throwing around all willy-nilly. But I actually went on like Wikipedia and stuff like that, like on they have like a wiki where it like gives all this information about all the different terms and terminology and characters and everything in the game. So kind of as I started like meeting certain characters, because you don't meet everybody at once, you kind of like, it's spread out somewhat throughout the game. And that was one of the things where I'm like, okay, I need to kind of focus on this character right now, and then this character right now, and this thing, and Dooms, and BTs, and BBs, and all that stuff. It's insane, just the amount of stuff that Kojima put in here to build this world. But it's phenomenal, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, the game definitely wasn't done on a whim. Like you could tell this was something that he had probably thinking about for years. And now that, he was not under Konami, and, and didn't have to crank out Metal Gear Solids every couple of years, he could just be like, all right, I'm going to just create what I want to make.
Right.
I just want to get into the Hardy stuff right away, into some of the themes of like the game, in terms of you have this character, this like reluctant character in Sam, who has been tapped by the president of the United Cities of America, who happens to be his mom. Man, I feel stupid. What was her name again?
Oh fuck!
Shame on us, right?
Oh my god!
Bridget.
Because I know Bridget and Amelie.
Bridget. Yeah, Bridget. Amelie. Yeah, Bridget and Amelie.
Amelie. Yeah. Oh,
damn.
We're gonna get in. That's we're gonna screwed up.
Yep. That's all right. Whatever.
Bridget Strand. That's his mom, and she's like dying. She's on her deathbed, and she's like, "Hey, you've got to do this." And they somehow convince him to connect all these towns and cities across the continental United States, from all the way from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. And man, just Kojima doesn't do fucking subtle, dude. Like he doesn't know what it is to be subtle. He's just so overt about things. Like, and we'll just get into it. Like, I think this is a straight up pro-life game. Like, it's a straight up pro-life game, dude. Like,
see, and I disagree with that. I'll let you go ahead, but
like there's just so many examples of it being pro-life in terms of. I'll give you an example. At towards the end, when the baby, when Sam himself is killed by Bridget, right? She uses Die Hardman's gun and she kills Cliff, right? She kills Clifford Unger, who's his dad, and mistakenly she shoots the baby, right? An example of it being pro-life is, oh my God, I killed this kid. She brings him back to life. She brings him back to her beach, brings him back to life. Another example is when Dead Man is like, hey, after a while, usually a year and a half, we decommission these things. These things are not children. They're just a tool. They're a tool that we use to combat the BTs, which are the beach things, which are the primary form of combat in the game. And
they suck.
Sam is like, nope, you're not gonna take it away. He's pretty adamant about it. He's like, no, you're not gonna destroy this thing. Another example is towards the end when he goes back to the first part of the map and he's gonna I think he has to destroy the BB and he decides not to, and then we find out that it's Lou and that it's a girl. Like, yep. I'm like, those are just 3 examples of just, we're gonna fight for this life. We're not gonna get rid of it. Right.
And like I get where you're coming from, but I think I guess we got to ask, is it like, cause you're saying pro-life, like are you meaning pro-life as in like this game is adamantly anti-abortion, or are you just you taking it from like a different stance? Cuz
no, I think it's subtle. I think it's like subtle. Like, for example, like there's a lot of comments there's comments about immigration, there's comments about building the wall, about tearing down walls and being together. A lot
together. Of that is in the texts.
Yeah, a lot of that is in the text.
In the interviews.
And being unified. And I remember when I was reading that, I'm like, okay, that seems like a take on something. Mm-hmm. Right, that's pretty prevalent nowadays. But then on the flip side, you had like sort of patriotic texts where it's like, well, you have to be proud of American ingenuity and you have to be proud of American manufacturing, and the only way we're going to band together is by being all one country. And I'm like, okay, right. That's another side of the coin where I fall into. And I'm like, okay, Kojima is not disrespecting anybody. He's just like going right down the middle. But he's just very subtle about it. So no, I don't think it's like a adamantly pro-life, anti-abortion. No, I don't think that's his message at all. I think it's just very subtle. Like,
that's why I'm glad we waited to get into that on this show, because I would have argued heavily against that had it been like an anti-abortion thing, because I don't want to get into too much political stuff here. I know the game is kind of political. It's very
the game is political. The game is very political.
It's definitely political fueled.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't want to get into like our own opinions on the matter and stuff like that too much. But if it was like, if I would have thought for even a second that this was pushing some pro-life, anti-abortion, agenda or whatever, I would have taken the disc out and smashed it. So like, I agree with what you're saying at this point, and I'm glad we waited to get into that, because that could have been like, what I mean? Like, that was something that I was definitely curious to see where you're going to take it, because I think you and I disagree on this particular subject, and without getting too much into it, I just I'm glad you went the way you did with it, and I completely respect that and agree with you in that sense. But that it's like you said, Kojima he's kind of going right down the middle. Like you and I talked about this earlier. He's calling everybody out. No matter what side of the fence you're on, he's calling you out, right? So whether you're on the left or the right, you're getting called out here, and I love it. He didn't shy away from it. But he didn't come out and attack anybody either. You know what I mean?
No.
Which I liked. That's one of the things that I really like, because I mentioned this on the show well before Death Stranding came out, and I said that I was really excited for it. But one of the things that I was worried about, as somebody right-leaning, was, hey, I'm afraid that it's gonna like take a dump on us again. Like, that's all the media does, is just, in the games industry for sure, it's just dump on folks on the right. And I'm like, man, I'm not really gonna like that. But it wasn't that at all, and that made me love the game even more. I'm like, oh, he's not dumping on anybody. He's just giving his own take on how he sees things.
Right, and from like a neutral party too, because obviously Kojima is Japanese, so he's not an American guy.
No, not at all.
But he took it from like an outsider's perspective, like, hey, like, I don't know if he's exactly. This is kind of how I took it. This is an opinion right here, but I feel like he's saying, hey, you guys are kind of all fucking up right now. You guys need to come back together. You know what I mean? It's okay to disagree, right? Like, it's fun, but like, I feel like it's like a call out on our current political landscape, like right now, and I felt it like when I was playing through it, man. Especially, it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic world in a sense. Like it's not like a Last of Us or anything like that, but
Right.
I don't know, man. It's just there's so much here, and I feel like Kojima just went after all of it, and it was kind of refreshing. You know what I mean? It was like you said, like the way things are, like everyone's attacking everyone, right? It's not just the left attacking the right or the right attacking. It's just everybody is going in on each other right now, and it's nice to see like a fresh perspective on it, and doing it in a way that he's not outright just coming after or attacking everyone. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
No,
that's one of the great things. I
absolutely
didn't feel
understand what you're saying.
attacked. I didn't feel attacked. I didn't feel preached to. And I like what you said about, hey, this was a foreigner's take, or I shouldn't say foreigner. It was an outsider's take on like our current state of politics today. And I see it the same, but I also saw it like a love letter to the States, but weirdly enough. Like I saw it like I'm like, all right, so Kojima, he looks at us from afar and he's like, that great fucking country, that great fucking nation. You guys need to get back to that.
Yeah.
And
Right.
this is a way that you can do it. Just like unify, and you're all on the same team. You're all part of the same lineup. And I sort of took it like that in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
That's exactly how I took it. That's why that's why I was a little bit worried when you said the whole pro-life thing, because I thought we were gonna have, you know what I mean? I thought you were gonna like say that this game is coming after like people that are pro-choice. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I thought we were gonna go with it, and that's not where you went with it, and that's not where he went with it. And
because that's not what he did.
Yeah, he did it. Oh man, I fucking love this game, dude. I know we just started this episode, but
No, I get it. It just makes you think. It makes you really like reanalyze a lot of things.
And I know that I mean the listeners, you said it before. I know that you're an atheist, but I said it before, and you agreed with me. To be fair, you did agree with me when I said that Sam was sort of like a messiah-like figure.
Yeah,
because like his job was to carry this burden, where he was the one guy that needs to connect this country together after these devastating attacks called Death Stranding. And I remember when I got towards the end, right, the end goal, which is like all the way at the western part of the map, and I see it from afar, and I'm like, I remember I was like, I looked at the screen, I'm like, really, Kojima, a fucking cross, dude?
right.
I'm like, really? When you see that structure, which is like, I think it's an auto paver that like started and I guess it didn't finish or whatever. It's like all destroyed or whatever, and I see it off in the distance, and it's like this cross-like structure. I'm like, oh my god, this dude is so like.
Yeah, he. I mean, I noticed the cross too. It's that last place you go before you get to the western part of the map, and
Yes.
Yep.
it's kind of like raised up too, like where you got to walk up on it, and that's where you deliver the materials or whatever to get that back online. And yeah, that's not subtle, I don't think. And again, going back to kind of what we were just saying a little bit ago, I don't think that it was necessarily pro-Christianity or pro or anti-Christianity. I don't think it was necessarily that, but I think, again, he's going into like kind of our American values and culture at that point. And like I said, I love the way he went about it, and I can't even stress that enough, man. But yeah, and the Goose did say it in our Discord. He said something about Sam being like a Messiah-like figure.
Yeah.
And yeah, it makes sense, right? Like this guy's going around, he's talking to all these fucking people, getting them all back on this network, getting them all together, and rebuilding the country.
Basically convincing them to do it.
Right.
Honestly, I mean because there are a lot of people throughout the game where you go and talk to them, they're like, no, fuck you, like I'm not doing this.
Yeah, fucking.
I'm not joining the UCA. Like, what are you?
I made the
talking
platinum
about? Like,
suck.
The gooses
oh,
of the
I can
world.
imagine.
Yeah. Fucking that'd be me too. I'm like, get the fuck
hi,
out of
fuck
here.
you.
If I wouldn't show myself on a hologram, I'd walk out with my guns. What the fuck are you doing?
Fuck yourself, man. Come on.
Sure, dude.
Oh man, but yeah, we kind of strayed away from the story a little bit here, just talking about like our personal, like they're not even really opinions. I think we're all hitting the nail on the head here with
just our opinions of the game and how we felt, kind of how we interpreted a lot of the stuff with the game.
But you're right. I did stray from the story, but trying to circle back to it. And and just for the listeners, it's a conversational podcast, so we're gonna bob in and out in terms of
we're gonna jump all the fuck over the place.
Yeah, it won't be a linear. We're not going to do a linear summary of the story. But what did you guys think of the veteran? So for the listeners out there, I'm pretty sure you guys know because it's a spoiler cast. But the veteran is Clifford Unger, played by Mads Mikkelsen. And I remember at the beginning there were so many of these, especially because I would go a lot to like the depots and go underneath in the hubs to read stuff. And then when I'd come up, I'd have one of those visions, and I'm like, what's the relationship between him and the BB? And I'll be honest, I didn't see it coming. I did not see coming that Sam was his kid. I didn't. I
didn't see that at all. I did
Sam,
not.
Sam
like that was
a
the
pod
last
BB.
thing I thought.
He was. Yeah. I think he was. I don't know if he was the first one, but he was one of the first ones.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that character overall?
Performance of the year, hands down.
Man, he
better than Higgs. Better than Higgs.
Better than Higgs, better than Troy Baker.
I would say Troy Baker was pretty goddamn good, though.
He was one note, but he was so good. And I don't like Troy Baker, folks, so that's high praise coming from me.
Yeah.
The only thing, I know I talked to a friend about this, and the only thing that with Troy Baker's character that bothered me was the breaking the fourth wall shit. Like, oh, it's game over, Sam.
Oh, I love that, dude.
I loved the boss fight at the end where they had the fucking health bars. Oh my god, dude! When that happened, I'm like, this is the best game. This right here is the best game ever.
That hit me hard. When I saw that hit me hard. I was like, oh my god, Metal Gear Solid 4, the boss fight between Snake and Liquid Ocelot. That hit me in the feels right there.
That's fair. That's fair.
Never played the Metal Gear games, but I just loved it from like a classic gamer, like an old school gamer standpoint, and it was fucking awesome. And then obviously breaking the fourth wall is always good, especially if you pull it off right. And it's hard to pull off. I think it is. And
I mean, I guess, looking at it, I didn't dislike it, but it was kind of like, oh, all right, okay, this is what we're doing here, isn't it?
But yeah, Mads
Mikkelsen back at all by the Monster advertisements?
No,
that didn't bother me
funding,
at all.
Man, funding, bro. They got to fund this game. Games are expensive. We've talked about that.
No, it didn't bother me either. I was just wanted to take your guys' take on it.
Nope. If you're bothered by it,
honestly didn't bother me whatsoever.
If you're bothered by it, you need to study the economics of the gaming industry before you get all pissed off. That's all I'll say about that. Monster Energy probably paid a good chunk of money to help development costs.
A very good chunk of money.
Yep.
I'm sure.
And one of the biggest, I think they're owned by Coca-Cola now, but definitely one of the biggest energy drinks in the world, so they've got money.
Right.
And Koji Pro is a newer studio, right? It is newer, right?
Yeah. Well, technically, yes.
Technically,
Sony
as an independent studio, quote unquote, yes, it's a newer studio.
Yeah, so they're not going to have all. I mean, I'm sure they've got sponsors and people like Sony that helped, but product placement's good for. Whether you like it or not, it helped development costs. But back to Mads Mikkelsen, man, his character was so fucking good.
He killed it, man.
Yeah, dude, his acting was so good. Yeah, I loved it, man. He was definitely the highlight of the game, and that's saying a lot because the whole cast is really good.
The levels, the quote like wartime levels where you're on these battlefields and shit, like that was some of my favorite parts of the game. Like it was just so different and just so interesting. It just captivated me. Right.
It hit me pretty hard with it because I have a son, year and a half old. So maybe that particular part where like Goose mentioned earlier, where they shot the BB and it was because throughout the whole game you hear he's talking to the baby, right? He fucking loves this kid. He's talking about how they're gonna go do shit afterwards once they get out of there, and that fucking hit so hard, man. This is the first game that's made me tear up like in a long fucking time. I can't even think. Maybe The Last of Us was the last time, and
God of War maybe.
No, God of War didn't. God of War, I loved it, but I kind of knew it was gonna happen in God of War. Because I was late to the party on that one, so
right, maybe you were.
But yeah, this game, dude, fucking it. I felt it, dude. I felt it. And then at the end, when like he's trying to wake the BB up after he decides not to burn it,
yeah,
dude, I'm like, you gotta stop, man, because I'm gonna fucking lose it. And Thankfully, the baby woke up, and then credits rolled, and then you get the little end game or end credit scene, and oh, dude, it was so emotional, man. The game. That's why I wish people would. There's a lot of haters for this game right now, and I wish people would just keep playing. That's the best advice I can give to people is keep playing. I fucking hated this game the first 2 chapters, and I didn't
actively hate it. I just was like, man, I don't know. Like I just don't know if I can grasp what Kojima is trying to put down. And honestly, I know Dalton, you and I talked about it. Like chapters like 6 through 8, boy, I struggled. I struggled getting through them.
Fuck chapter 6.
Yeah.
When you don't have BB with you,
going through those fucking mountains of all places too.
Yeah, and their BTs fucking everywhere, and you can't really sense them until literally they're right next to you. Like it was tough, man.
Not to stray into gameplay too much, but going back in regards to Mads Mikkelsen and those 3 levels, and then I'll go forward. But going back to those 3 levels felt like a fuck you to the fans. To me personally, they were fun. I liked them. I think actually in terms of gameplay, they were the weakest because in comparison to other Kojima games, when it comes to the gunplay and the sneaking around, I think it's weaker in comparison to the Metal Gear Solid games. Like that core gameplay loop, like that game you're not meant to shoot in this game. Like that's not the way I think the game was meant you were meant to play it. And I think one of the telling things is that when you go back underneath again to one of these Port Knot cities or whatever, one of these depots. I call them depots because that's what they look like to me, UPS depots. You have the option to replay those levels.
Yeah.
So to me, it felt like to all you people bitching and complaining, or all you folks who will bitch and complain, here, have at it. You can play this to your heart's content. Go ahead, shoot, sneak around, do whatever you want to do. But in going forward to what Jeff said in terms of, hey, I don't know what Kojima is trying to do here. I loved it. The gameplay, I loved it. I absolutely loved how he staged it, how he fed you little by little, and he taught you, hey, this is what you do here. You can do an auto paver. Now you can use the roads if you want. Now I'm going to give you a bike. Now you can use the bike to get on the roads. Now I'm going to give you a truck. Now I'm going to give you a zip line. Now I'm going to give you this. It was like little breadcrumbs, little by little, teaching you how this game was meant to be played. Mm-hmm. And it was a great subversion. I loved it because he made a game in 2019 where, I mean, games have been around for maybe 45 plus years. And in the majority of the games, either you're a platformer or you're a shooter, right? You're usually doing something. That's not what Kojima made. And he said, I'm going to do a game in which the core gameplay loop is a fucking fetch quest design. The core gameplay loop is fetch quest design. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to stick to it, too. I'm going to stick to my guns. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to make the world hell to fucking traverse. I'm going to make it beautiful as hell, right? It's going to be a great-looking world. You're going to love it. But you're going to hate walking through it. It's going to piss you off. You're going to hate it. It's going to suck. Especially for those you shooty bang bang types. Suck it. Right? And he stuck to his guns, and I fucking loved it.
I mean, he definitely did stick to his guns. I will absolutely give you that.
Yeah. Like I said, the first 2 chapters, I don't know if it was the full first 2 chapters, but there was a point, it was before I got the first vehicle, and I'm like, dude, fuck this game. Like, I don't want to, walking around and walking into a BT area, and that fucking thing starts moving. You have to stop what you're doing because you got to watch this little scene or whatever every fucking time you come into a BT area. And it's just at first, man, I was so fucking irritated, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to fucking do this. Like, every time I get in one, I just I lose motivation, and then I got the bike, and then I was like, I wonder if you can just ride right through BT areas on this bike. And then I'm like,
no.
And then I get fucking stuck and get destroyed. Because I want to point out that I played this game on hard. So it was a little bit more difficult in BT areas than it would be on say very easy. Because I won't lie to you guys, after I beat the story, when I was going around and I was setting up all my zip lines and stuff, I put it on very easy while I was setting those up because I didn't feel like fucking with these BT areas.
Oh yeah, there's really no need to be honest.
Yeah, and the BTs go down a lot easier on very easy. couple shots with the auto or the assault rifle or whatever, they're gone. A lot more damage on hard, but it's still not that much harder. But dude, I right at the beginning, man, I just lost all drive to play this game, and then I got the bike and got fucked by a couple BT areas, and then I learned like, hey, you got to be patient even on a bike, kind of get off the bike and map the area out, see what the best path is to go through it, and all this stuff, or just ride slow through it. You know what I mean? You got to be patient. You gotta take your fucking time.
Yeah,
until you get zip lines. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, like, yeah, that was the biggest thing that I had to learn was patience. And what, like you said, Dalton, like, you got to take your time.
Yeah.
Like, in certain areas, like even against the mules and stuff like that, like, you can't just sprint through the area and hope that nothing happens. Like, you're gonna need to take your time with it and feel it out and learn how to traverse those sections, and hopefully you're well equipped with the blood grenades and all that kind of stuff. Like that, there were times where
is that poop, pee, and blood grenades.
Poop and pee and blood grenades.
And shower water.
And shower water. Yes, sir.
I love it though because they're using their resources.
Oh.
It's very eco-friendly.
Yeah, this is a green game.
Yes.
Oh man, but no, it's to anyone that's like, I know you're listening to this, so you probably already played it, but like to anyone that's playing through I never usually do this, but I recommend kind of rushing through the first 2 chapters because chapter 3, it opens way the fuck up. Like,
yeah,
it's an entirely new. I'm calling them chapters. They're called episodes in the game. You guys know what I mean, but yeah, it's an entirely different game. Like, I hit that chapter 3. I remember texting Gus, and I was like, dude, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to try one more time. I finished. I slogged through the rest of chapter 2 and got into chapter 3, and I could not put this game down, dude. Like, could not put it down, dude. That's the reason I platinumed it, because I was having so much fucking fun with these menial tasks, man, setting up these zip lines and delivering fucking packages, and I'm having so much fun taking packages from one place to the next. Even before I had the zip lines, I'm putting them in my fucking truck, loading the shit out of my truck with as many orders as I could get, and fucking driving halfway across the map. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, once I got the auto pavers, because the mistake I made, and it wasn't a mistake because I had fun, but I spent 12 hours in chapter 2 alone. I remember it was I saw the clock and I was 20 hours in, and I'm like, well, when I finished chapter 1, it was 8, and now it's 12. Damn, that's fucking 12 hours in chapter 2. Fuck, because I was so focused on building roads and making deliveries. And then I read online that, hey, dude, just continue because you're going to get a zip line. And I had no idea about a zip line. I didn't know anything about zip lines until I saw my friend Juan, who posted like a little video on Twitter of him like zip lining around. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm doing it wrong. I screwed up.
I knew about zip lines beforehand. Like, I didn't know exactly what they were. Obviously, I know what a fucking zip line is, but like, I didn't know exactly what it meant. And because before I started playing the game, like right before it came out, Power Picks released the trophy guide or whatever, and I did look at it, and that's when I decided, you know what, I'm turning trophies off. I'm not fucking worrying about trophies. This is the first time I've ever done this.
And you did say it was liberating for you. You said that.
Oh, I loved it, man. Great.
And it's funny. He convinced me to do it too, and I've since turned all achievements and trophies off on both consoles.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. I'm doing that right now with Days Gone. But yeah, it's awesome. And then what I do first is like I went in. I'm like, okay, are there any missable trophies? Because that's the big one. Like,
that's the big one. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, there's no missable trophies. Fuck it. I'm just playing this game how I want to play it, and that's it. And I'm not worrying about trophies. I had no idea when I finished an episode. I had no idea when I did this or that. Right. And then once I finished the story, I took a step back. I opened my trophy list. I'm like, oh, what do I got left? And I saw that I was at like 66% or something like that when I finished the game. I was like, okay, just the grindy shit now. Like, let's fucking do this because I'm having so much fun playing this game. And and we've kind of got into the gameplay. The gameplay drew me in, dude. After those first 2 chapters, man, I was fucking hooked on like just the gameplay itself, not even in the story, which is a whole other fucking beast that was incredible. I think what Kojima did here, I remember when he first, like, they were announcing this game or whatever, and he's like, don't know if you guys remember this or not, but I'm making a whole new genre. A whole new genre. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
I was like,
Stranding
bullshit.
game.
Yeah,
The
I was
Strand
like,
game.
bullshit, Kojima. You're not making a new fucking genre. And
It
then
was
I
kinda
guess
bullshit if you think about it.
it is. And that's what I was just about to say. I guess technically he didn't, but like it's something entirely new and it felt fresh to me. So it pulled me out of one of the biggest gaming ruts I've ever had in my life. So
Same.
Yeah. I mean, I unlike you guys, I didn't really get into a major rut. I got into a few small ruts throughout the year. But I mean, this game definitely like grabbed my attention because I mean, while I was playing it, there were, Pokemon came out, Star Wars came out. There were other games that I was really looking forward to that came out. And I had the opportunity to, put it down and move on towards something else. But I'm like, no, I want to stick with this. I want to see this motherfucker through to the end. And I did. So.
yeah, that's what I did. I mean, not to the same level because like I bought Pokemon the day it came out. I did cave and buy it the day it came out, but I beat Death Stranding that night, so I didn't have to wait too long, fortunately. But as soon as I beat Death Stranding, I played through Pokemon. I beat the main story or whatever, and then I put Death Stranding right back in, and I was like, that's when I went for the platinum because I did not want to stop playing. And then I didn't start playing Jedi Fallen Order until after I got the platinum. So
Right.
And part of me wants to go back and play it again, but I'm gonna wait until PC. I'm gonna double dip, get it on PC, and fucking use a bunch of cheats. I'm gonna use a bunch of cheats to like basically disable BTs because fuck BTs, man. Especially when you're going for the platinum, and once you set up your zip lines, it's not a big deal. But when you're setting up your zip lines, you get stuck in a fucking BT area. It's fucking irritating because then you've got a mission, right? You've got a goal in mind, like. I need to get all these fucking zip lines set up so I can 5-star all these facilities. And then you get stuck with you're doing something, you get stuck at a BT area. It's fucking irritating, but it is what it is. But yeah, back to the story. I feel like we've kind of went away with that a little bit. Finding out who Amelie really was like a big moment for me, and definitely a big moment in the game. Like,
did anybody find it odd that like her and her daughter, well, at the time that we thought was her daughter, were like identical twins? Yeah, I was like, that's so fucking odd.
It's a Jesus situation. God and Jesus are the same person.
Yeah.
Because like they're the same people, but they're not. Because one of them died. Like in this case, it was the mom that died. But yeah, it's crazy. Like basically took on a life. It's hard to explain. I don't know, man.
And then what did Amelie stand for again in French? Something
soul
like
that is a lie.
Soul that is a lie. I'm like, my God.
Am means soul in French, and then obviously Lee or lie at the end of her name.
Of course, Kojima. I was supposed to know what the fuck this meant. Yay!
Yeah.
The funny thing is I liked the name a lot too. I'm like, i've never actually heard that before. To those of you that have heard that name before,
I've heard of like Emily, but
you've never seen the film Amelie?
No.
You'd like it. It's funny. Funny enough, it's a French film, and it's really famous for its soundtrack.
Oh, nice.
That's fucking random. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So this is an Amelie spoilercast now. No, dude, it was when you finally found out who she was. She is an extinction entity, right? So she's there to fuck shit up, and it's
basically
awesome.
She's there to end the world.
But she grew like a conscience almost. It's like, man, how can I stop my own inevitable destruction? This game is so fucking.
There was a lot of concepts there in terms of like you have Chiralium, you have certain side stories, even you have certain side stories like with Fragile story in terms of her father and the company that he was trying to build with Fragile Express. You have the concept of Timefall, which I love. Sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
No, you're good. No, basically I was gonna say that like I really like Fragile story and like what Higgs puts her through, and like how people basically just like resent her because of her unknown actions. She basically destroyed an entire city, and it was I thought that was super. I thought that was super fascinating. Like I wanted to know more. I also really loved, not to like completely jump around, but fucking Heartman. I loved him. He is by far my favorite character in the game. He's so cool.
He dies like every 21 minutes. He's dead for like, what is it? Is it 3 minutes? He's dead.
3 minutes. So 24-minute cycles.
Yeah, so every 21 minutes he dies. he dies and he
Cardiac
remains dead,
arrest.
cardiac arrest, and he's dead for 3 minutes. And I thought that section was so fucking cool when he falls, right, and then he gives you the thumbs up, and then I don't know,
Yeah.
you do something like you mess
You
around
fuck with
the
his
music.
record player.
Yeah, and they give you
Yeah.
like 20. They give you like 20 minus, and then they go back to him, and he gives you a thumbs up. I'm like, that's so cool. That's so Kojima.
It's hilarious. Dude, the way they handle the social media shit is funny. I thought it was funny as fuck right off the rip, but
Right.
yeah, Hartman's a great character, dude. I agree with you. I fucking loved Hartman.
Phenomenal. But yeah, like
Dead Man. There was like some sort of like, at least I took it this way, some sort of like homoerotic scenes between Sam and Dead Man. Like that's the way I saw it. I saw it. I'm like, they're really close up on each other, and I'm like, I know that Kojima is a little funny.
Well,
So
then
I'm
like the shower scene too to boot.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like,
awkward
where
as
are we
shit.
going here? But then
Right.
you find out later, like, I don't know if you guys read all the emails and stuff, but you find out later that Sam had a wife, and she was pregnant with their kid, and they were going to name it Lou. She ended up killing herself, and that's what caused the void out that killed that town. So they thought that she died in a void out, but she was the cause of the void out.
Yep. And Sam wasn't there.
No, he was doing what he does now. He's like a deliverer or whatever. So he's out of town for work a lot.
A porter.
And dude, it's just so crazy deep, man. And that's where the name Lou comes from, because they were gonna have a boy, I believe, and they were gonna name it Lou. And he named the BB Lou, and it was just
Louise, I think.
Yeah,
it's a girl.
And I loved how like it transitioned from just him calling it BB and having like it was like BB 128, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Something with a 28 for sure.
Yeah, and then like all of a sudden he just started calling it Lou, and it was like almost like seamless. It just kind of bled into that, and I was like, okay. Yeah. So there's clearly a meaning with this, and then as you move forward with the game, you're like, oh, okay, yes, there's definitely a meaning behind this name that he starts calling it.
Yeah, and even Dead Man, he like at first he's like, what, you named it, or you gave it a name, and then he even starts calling it Lou as well after a while, because he gets attached to it in one of the not the flashback scenes, but one of the war scenes is when he gets attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I also really liked, like, if you guys ever hit like the pad, the touchpad button, like you would call out, like I'm Sam, and all that kind of stuff. But like there were like as the game progressed, like in the latter half of the game, you would call out for Lou, and it was really cool that it like changed from like talking about yourself to basically searching for this connection to Lou. And to this BB, I thought that was really cool. It was just a really like minor but very cool touch.
Yeah, Kojima did a lot in this game, man.
Were there like any characters that stood out to you? I think of Higgs and the relationship between him and Fragile, and I remember when she's talking about Higgs at the beginning, she's like, "Oh yeah, he wasn't like that at the beginning," and I'm like, there's a story there. We don't know what happened. Something about him turned, and there's a little bit of exposition in that in terms of he wasn't necessarily always like a villain,
right?
And then like his quest for power, sort of, he was coerced by Bridget, and that's why he did what he did. But I'm like, man, I'd really love like I wouldn't, I guess I would and I wouldn't, because I think the game is perfect as is, but I'd love like some sort of DLC or I don't know, some sort of closure with between them. Because we don't know whether she kills him or not. I assume that she does kill him.
She does not.
She doesn't?
No, I think she says that in one of the last scenes of the game. Like she said, I couldn't bring myself to kill him.
Oh,
I gave him a choice.
Yeah,
he basically I gave him a choice to either off yourself or
stay here.
Basically stay here on the beach, and he's
then you
like,
hear the
no.
gunshot.
Yeah, that's him killing himself as opposed to her killing him.
Yeah.
So but I agree. I agree, Goose. Like I would really like to know like certain characters, like a backstory, like a DLC backstory of like certain ones, because the thing that threw me off at the beginning, I know you guys said that you guys had, Dalton, you said you had struggled through the first couple chapters, like. The game throws you into this world. There's no setup. There's no like you as a character, as Sam the character, learning things. Like he'll just start spouting stuff that you're just as an outside observer expected to know, because you should know, because this is the world of Death Stranding.
It could be jarring,
but it's very jarring, and I would like to have some type of like prologue or prequel kind of like setup story to see how these characters got to the point that they are right now in the beginning of Death Stranding. I think would be interesting to see. I'm not saying it needs to happen. I'm not saying Kojima's going to do it, because I really doubt that he is, because from, you know, interviews he's done he has no really intentions of doing more with Death Stranding,
which would be great. I'll be honest, dude. If his next effort is something complete, like if he never does anything Death Stranding related again, I think I'd be happy, because I'm like, great, this is a one and done, and I've said my piece with it as Kojima, and now I'm moving on to something else.
Right. I mean, he did an interview where he said he'd love to work with Norman Reedus again, but he said, he would if he did a Death Stranding 2, for instance, he would start completely from scratch. Yes, maybe the world would be the same, but like none of the main characters, it sounded like, were gonna take part in the game at all. Right. So
I think a prequel would be awesome, explaining, or for example, like a prequel taking place immediately after the events of the first Death Stranding.
Right.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I think it would.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it would be interesting to see like the more of a backstory development. But I mean, still, like you said, like, I mean, here we are, 2 weeks removed from all of us finishing the game. And we just can't stop gushing about it. Like, clearly this is something special. I did not think, like, I knew I would like it because Kojima is one of my favorite game developers, you know, of all time. Metal Gear is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I knew I would like it. I don't think I would like it as much as I actually ended up doing.
Yeah, for sure. And then honestly, it's something I feel like I don't, we haven't talked about it at all yet, but I feel like it doesn't get enough credit, is the placement of the soundtrack.
Yes.
Like you're walking, like I remember the first time I'm walking, I think I was walking up to the incinerator for the very first time at the beginning of the game, and then the soundtrack starts playing. I'm like, oh my god, dude! Like it just fits. It fits the world so well. It's like, man, you guys are geniuses, because this is something I couldn't even fathom putting together. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm not a game developer and I'm not a music artist, but dude, the soundtrack for this game is perfect. It really is.
I was listening to another podcast, the Min Max show, and they were doing their top 3 songs of 2019, and one of the guys' number ones was the "Don't Be So Serious" from the opening of the game. Yeah. And that they played all the songs, like, you know, so the audience could get like an idea of what they sounded like, and like hearing that again just like rush back all of these like the visuals of the game, and how like it was just this like basically venturing into the unknown. Right. And honestly, like the lyrics of, you know, "Don't be so serious," like, don't take this so seriously, but also like, this is something I'm building, is basically like Kojima's message to the fans. Like, he's like, this is my venture into something, you know, don't take it so seriously. Like, this is something new that I want to present to you guys, as opposed to, you know, what you know me for, which is Metal Gear. So at least that's how I interpreted it. So that's all.
I agree. I love the music as well. I'm not dumping on it. It's totally my fault, but like, and I regret doing it, because a lot of them were played out. Because when the game first came out, we knew it was low roar, so I just, like, me being just me, I just listened to a lot of their music on Spotify. I'm like, oh, okay, their music is good. So I was like familiar with a lot of the songs when they would come on, mm-hmm. But I still think that they had an impact when he chose to play them when he did. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Although some people did complain, although I don't know why. They were like, oh, I'm walking in a meadow, I'm expecting a song now. I'm like, I guess I could see their point in terms of like maybe he overdid it, but I personally didn't have a problem with it. I think it was great. I think soundtrack of the year for sure.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
absolutely, yeah.
definitely up there. I mean, my only problem with it was there were certain instances where the song would start, I feel like late, like, and then I would only be able to listen to part of it before I got to the destination that I was shooting for.
Oh, dude, when the song would come, like, I'm such a fucking role player. I just walk slowly and like do little circles. Like, I think there's a couple of videos that I put on Twitter and shit of just when the music would come, I would just take my sweet ass time, make it look real scenic and
Right.
shit.
That's what I did too, because that's how I feel like when these songs come on. I'm like, all right, this is like a relaxing part of the game because the soundtrack is very relaxing to me. Like, it's like when it comes on, it's like, hey, take a breath, take a look at this fucking world. You know what I mean? Take a look at this map, check it out, and that's what I did, man. As soon as the song would come on, I'd kind of like stop. And I'd, like you said, walk in circles. I'd be like looking around with the stick, the right stick or whatever, and just checking shit out.
Right.
And taking in the whole map. And like the soundtrack, the way it's placed, the way he plays certain songs and stuff, like it almost plays into that particular section of the game too. And it's just, oh man, the way it fits so well, dude. And that's just the way I took it. And that's what I did whenever a song would come on. I'd just start fucking around and looking around, checking everything out. So.
Yeah, okay. I mean maybe it was just, me playing it how I play it and you guys doing something different. I mean,
We're fucking nerds. Yeah, we were we were like, all right, this is the moment to be nerdy and just live it up or whatever. Yeah.
Because the
right.
map
No, I
is
mean,
beautiful, man. Oh my god, dude.
That game is like, I know you messaged us in the Discord the other day, Dalton. I can't remember what you were playing. Was it Days Gone, where you said your PS4 sounds like it's about to take the fuck off?
Mm-hmm.
Death Stranding did that a lot for me, and I feel like because that game is so goddamn beautiful, just sheer art direction. I can't get over. Like, I know we got, there are other games coming out here, in the near future, like specifically, like Cyberpunk and something like that, where those games are so beautiful. But like, man, Death Stranding, I'm surprised it can be done on a PS4 hardware, if that makes any sense.
Did anybody find it odd that after the Death Stranding, the United States basically became Iceland? I'm not
it was
complaining
all
about
like
it, but I'm just like, this doesn't really look like the
with
States.
rocks.
Yeah, I was like there was a part when I kept looking at the maps and I was being super nerdy and I go to Google Maps on my phone and I'm like, all right, this looks like this would be Appalachia. This doesn't look like Appalachia to me. What the fuck is going on?
Right.
I know it's a stupid nitpick. It's the worst nitpick of all time. But I remember I wondered that. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
No,
Right.
I didn't get a U.S. vibe from it at all. Like,
No, I mean,
the
it
whole
didn't
way.
feel like the United, like,
Especially you who travels all around the States, dude. You would know.
Yeah. So
it doesn't, because they
didn't
didn't say
bother
how
me.
far in the future it was. Or
It
did
doesn't.
they?
Well,
It
no,
doesn't ever give
do
you a
reference.
time date.
I think they do reference some dates, don't they?
I
thought
can't
they
remember.
did. Now
I'm
I
looking
can't-
at the mail now. I'm pretty sure they reference some dates, dude. I don't know that we know when it takes place. And a lot of these interviews are like 3 weeks before the inauguration, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago. I'm looking at them now. Just jumping back real quick, what did you guys think about the imagery in terms of oh my god, like the not the beaches but the whales and the crabs?
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was so odd, but I did love it as well.
I'm weird. Like, I really like the ocean, and I'm fascinated by ocean life. So like the fact that they had, the whales and the crabs and all that stuff in there, like, was really like fascinating to me. Like, I don't like you said, it was very overwhelming. Like, maybe not overwhelming, but very like odd and out there. But like with the concept of, everybody has their own beach, like, I guess it makes sense in terms of, sea creatures, beach, make, correlation there. But it was definitely weird, but it was so cool. Like, I just thought the stylings behind it was so interesting and cool, honestly.
One thing that I did like, and I'll be honest, I was ignorant to this. I did not know that. I learned of it after the fact. Was that there have been 5 extinction events,
yes,
on Earth that could be scientifically proven, right? And I just love how he tied that in there. I remember when I was reading some of the exposition on some of the interviews, I'm like, is this real? And I fucking looked it up online. I'm like, oh shit! And I remember when I saw that it was actually real. For me at least, it carried that much more weight. Because I'm like, it's grounded in reality. It's not some shit that he just pulled out of his ass. Although, right, he did. But you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And all he had to do was for the sixth extinction. All Amelie had to do rather was just set off Yellowstone, and then boom. And she didn't do that. She fucked around, and then Sam stopped it. So.
Going back to the story a little bit. Did you shoot her?
Oh, a whole bunch of times. I don't know what to do there.
No, I ran up and hugged her immediately.
Okay, so did I.
I shot. I was like, what am I supposed to do? So at first, I didn't shoot her. I shot the water. I'm like, oh, maybe I just got to run out of bullets. So both times I just shot the water, or in any direction that wasn't hers. And I'm like, the fuck? I'm not gonna lie. I was stuck there for a couple minutes until
he doesn't
finally
tell you.
No, it doesn't tell you like what you should do. Yeah,
which I like.
I immediately, I unequipped the gun and I walked to her. I just ran towards her.
Yeah, that's what I did immediately too. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because like, she wasn't a bad guy, and even I saw that right away. I'm like, okay, she's not really an antagonist here. Like, she kind of is, but she's not.
I mean,
you know
she's
what I
mean? She kind of like controls these quote unquote terrorist groups.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's not a bad person. She's not doing it for bad reasons.
Yeah.
Did anybody feel bad for like? I hated the BTs at the beginning. And then once I'm like, all right, this he wants me to play this way. Okay, whatever, I'll do it. And then it wasn't a problem. At the beginning, it sort of reminded me of The Last of Us in terms of dealing with some of the clickers, where you just had like this droning noise because I play with my headphones on. I'm like, oh god, this is like creepy and weird, and I don't want to hear this shit right now, and it gets you on edge, and you don't want to make a mistake, right? And then after a while, I just learned to block them out. But I sort of felt bad for the BTs because I'm like, they're not really evil. They're just like
stuck
in purgatory. Yeah, they're in purgatory, and like afterwards when I had the ability to cut them loose, I'm like, oh, I'm setting them free now. And I think there's something to tie it back to, and I want to bring up a character we haven't spoken about at all, but I think you can tie that with Mama when she sets her baby free by cutting it loose,
and it kills her.
And it kills her too, which sucked. And then there was like Malignant, or her sister. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Her sister Lochna. Mama's real name was Malignant.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Mama was Malignant. And yeah, it was Lochna. Which, for whatever reason, I know it was the same character, same actresses, but I didn't like Lochna as much because I was like, no.
Until she became Mama.
Until
basically she's just like, no, it's me. Yeah, it's Mama. Like
Mama was like Alfred for the longest time. She was like like the Bruce Wayne
super grounded. Dynamic.
Yeah,
like super grounded, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I'm glad Gus brought that up about Lochna, how he didn't really care for her as much. Like, I know, like towards the end of the game, like her and Lochna were like the same person or whatever. They were one or whatever. But like when fucking at the end of the game, when Sam gets all the way back to the East Coast after you have to drive all the way back across.
Motherfucking that part.
Yeah, that sucks. But, he walks in and then Lochna tries to give him a hug and he's like basically like, bitch, get off me. And that's like, yeah.
That was rude as fuck.
Like,
that was rude.
Off, bitch.
I'm like, a rude motherfucker. And I'm like, yo, was that called for, Sam? I'm like, dude, come on, man.
But he can't be touched, right? Like,
people can't touch him. Of being touched.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. That is staying true to the character.
Yeah. Until later in the game when he gets over it.
Which was...
Is that all it was? Was that a phobia? Because he had, like, handprints and shit on him, too. So I didn't know if, like, he bruised or something when people touched him.
It was something he was fearful of. He did not like people touching him, I guess.
Okay.
And
I didn't really fully understand that, I guess.
I really liked when Dead Man got to hug him. I really liked that. I was like, yeah, you go.
I'm gonna go back to the beginning of the game, at the very, very beginning, when they're delivering. I don't think he's like a full porter yet. He's still wearing the other uniform, and he's with that group of guys in the van, and they get attacked by BTs. I think it's the first time they meet Higgs. I remember when that guy started stabbing himself, and we had seen that in the trailer. I hadn't seen that trailer before because that was part of a big trailer, like I think it was like a 15-minute trailer or something. And the guy starts to stab himself. I'm like, why the fuck is he stabbing himself? Like, what is he trying to prevent? Because I automatically assume, all right, he's trying to prevent something, but what is it? And then after the void out, because actually Sam dies early on in the game, and then he comes back because he's a repatriate. That's one of his Doom abilities because he was brought back because of Bridget.
Yep.
But I remember when that void out happened, I'm like, oh, that's why that guy was fucking stabbing himself and killing himself and shit. He knew he was gonna die, but he didn't want to be the cause of a void out.
Right.
That was pretty I thought that was selfless.
That part, like, that was honestly one of the big trigger things to make me really interested in what the fuck is going on in this story.
Yeah.
Like, it was very like, okay, something weird is like, this game is gonna throw things at me that I'm not gonna understand, but I'm definitely intrigued and I want to know what's gonna happen moving forward.
And then you meet his brother. I think it's Frank and Victor. I don't remember which one's which. But then you meet his brother, and then there's a story there. And then, there's another story. I can't believe I forgot about this. I kind of feel bad because I'm bringing it up late. But that the couple, the guy who's like this fucking curmudgeon dude who's like a crazy engineer. It's not the engineer. The engineer is...
Yeah, I know in the girl that you end up going and getting her and bringing her to him.
Oh, the chiral artist and the junker?
Yes.
Yes, the chiral artist and the junker. And, I thought her English was fine, but I found it so telling that Kojima thought her English was shit, that she was the only one that got subtitles. By the way, I didn't even notice
that.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I played with subtitles, so that was not any different. But you saying if you didn't play with subtitles...
She got subtitles during her
She English. Was the only one that got subtitles? That's fucking ridiculous.
Bullshit. Her English is fine.
Like, Kojima, you barely can speak English yourself. Like, what the fuck?
It was funny, but no, I think after they got married, like, they both contact you and tell you like, oh, I'm sick of her. It's not what I was expecting.
Like marriage isn't what it was supposed to be, or
it's cranked up to be. It sucks.
Yeah. I loved that. That was awesome.
That was pretty cool. I thought that was. There's a couple of side characters that are pretty cool. I'm thinking of other ones.
A lot of cameos.
I loved
Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, thank you. I was literally, you took the words out of my mouth, Dalton. I really liked Conan O'Brien's character. I thought that was really funny.
And then Jeff Keighley.
Yeah, of course.
And that's why everyone's so pissed. But yeah,
there was another one, wasn't there? Like there was another developer that they put him into the game.
Sam Lake was part of it from Remedy.
Yes.
Oh,
Alan Wake fame.
Yeah, Herman Holst, who was the creative director, who was the studio director over at Guerrilla, who's now the chief head of Sony Interactive Entertainment, worldwide president of Sony Interactive Entertainment.
Yes,
Herman Holst was also part of it. I'm thinking, who else? I know there were a couple of notable names throughout the industry. Okay, so this is super nerdy. I'm gonna brag right now, but just. Back in the PlayStation days, PlayStation 3 days, I was like a super PlayStation nerd. I recognize fucking Eric Lempel, who I don't know what his position is now. He's still within Sony, but he was like head of marketing or something. And I never forget him because he had like a YouTube video. For the longest time, PS3 players, we wanted in-game XMB. And I remember he was the one who debuted the update on YouTube. And then there was another guy who actually responded back on Twitter, which is kind of cool. Azad Kizelbash, I think. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, dude. But I saw him and I'm like, dude, is that you? And he's like, yeah, they got my hair real good. I started laughing. I'm like,
that's awesome.
Cool. So yeah, Kojima did some pretty cool things with the people that he included in the game.
Yeah, he definitely. Yeah, he made it. He made it. The people that have supported him over the years, and even some nice cameos. Like obviously Jeff Keighley was in there. It was cool. It was a different style of what I was expecting. Honestly, I was expecting more like physical people in front of you, but there really isn't.
Aside from cutscenes, there are no people in the game. I don't think.
Right.
Well, the porters, the port. So.
The actual porters.
Other porters.
Other porters. Yeah. Oh, how'd you guys feel about the combat against the mules?
It was.
And did you kill any?
No,
I did not.
I killed 2 by mistake. Well, actually, that's a lie. I killed 1 purposefully. The other was by mistake.
I used the bola gun.
No.
I use the Volta gun like almost exclusively on mules.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I killed him. So it was this one part where I kept like getting fucked up by BTs because of them, and I got really mad, and I just used the truck, and I said, "Fuck this guy," and I just ran him over and shit. So I'm pretty sure he died. I was doing more than
I don't think running them over kills them, because I definitely ran someone over and it did not kill them.
I like to use the.
I might be wrong though.
Oh my god, what was it called again? The strand thing.
Oh, the rope. Yeah,
the rope.
strand.
Yeah, I was using the rope to get them. Like I don't want to kill them.
Them up.
Yeah, because like their backstory is like they're not bad. They're just like I also think their like arc is a commentary on social media, where it's like people get obsessed with likes and just trying to be accepted and shit, and they got sort of like addicted to that, and now all they want to do is just fucking steal packages, which I thought it was kind of quirky and odd, but kind of cool at the same time.
It's literally like the people that steal Amazon packages off of porches now.
That's crazy.
In a way. Fucking morons. But yeah, no, I totally agree. I liked I thought the concept of mules was very interesting.
They were all right at first, but then they started getting annoying. Like,
I mean, like you said though, it sounded like Dalton, you thought the BTs also got super annoying, because at first they were super super cool. Like this was this really interesting mechanic where you couldn't really see them and stuff like that, and then it just got super annoying.
Cool. They were never.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I thought they were pretty annoying until I got the ability from Mama to cut them. Once I had the ability to cut the umbilical cord, I was like, all right, you fuckers are done. I'll be pissed because I'll have to take my time and I'll have to trek through and make sure I don't hit you directly, and I'll have to keep using the Ober deck to make sure I can see you. But you guys are fucked. I'm gonna kill every one of you guys.
It made it a lot easier.
If I was in a BT area, I just crouched and slowly made my way through it. And anytime I had the option to cut it, see ya, done.
Because it sucks when you're going through BT areas and then you run out of blood bags, and then you run out of ammo, and it's just.
And the I can't. What's the hemo something grenades? Hermetic grenades.
Hermetic grenades, yeah. How do you guys feel about, and this is something we haven't touched on, how did you guys feel about the multiplayer component of the game with the like system and how people could set certain structures up? How do you guys like that?
See, I liked it because of the bridge. The level where you level your bridge up or whatever, the bridge point on the star, I believe it's the top point on your star or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Where you level each thing up after you deliver a package.
Oh, okay, yeah. There's certain levels. There's 1, 2, and 3, and after a while, you can continue to do it. Yeah.
Well, you level the bridge up to 60. Those are the max. That's the max you get is 60. I mean, you can go higher than that, but that's the last time you get shit for it. You can actually connect with more players through the bridge links. You can actually connect with these players. You can I went through the list and found out the people that had the highest likes and connected with them. So I can see their shit in the game and use their zip lines, and it was nice because other people's shit in the game doesn't take up your chiral bandwidth, so it helped a lot. It's almost like a cheat code if you really think about it, the online thing, but it's meant to be there. But if you were playing this game offline, it'd be a lot fucking harder. I can tell you that.
It would be so much harder. Because there were so many times where I was like, I'm like, okay, I need to get to this next point or this next area. I'm like, shit. I don't have that many resources. I can't build my own stuff. Oh, good. I connected the chiral network now I can. Oh, there's so many structures that people have built. I used people's structures all the time, and I just spammed that fucking like button as much as I could because it was actually legitimately helpful.
Yeah.
It made the game that much more, rewarding to get through certain areas, from people's help.
I wish you guys could find me and connect with me. That way you guys wouldn't have to build a bunch of zip lines because I already did it.
Yeah, no kidding.
I built a whole bunch of zip
I might
lines.
do all that. Yeah, I might do all the end game content if I knew that you built zip lines for me, Dalton.
Yeah. In the first section of the map, I built zip lines that will take me from Capital Knot City all the fucking way to Waystation West, all the way to Luden's Fan, all over, at least that first part of the map. I haven't started on the second. It'll take me over to the musician. Every single part of that first part, every single stop that you can make to make deliveries on that first part of the map, I basically set up all the way to Port Knot City. And that took me roughly maybe 2.5 hours. And then on the second part of the map, I remember when I really had lots of materials. I remember I stood up like 3 hours. I never forget. I would sleep like at 2 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, just setting up zip lines.
Yep.
I was like, oh man, this is so fun. And then what I do is once I'd set it up, I do like a little test, like a test run, like a little trial. But there were two instances
Right.
where I was sort of like down on my luck, and I didn't have any weapons, I didn't have any bags or anything, and I needed to like rappel down this cliff, and I was able to do it. And I remember I gave that guy so many likes, but one of the evil things that I did do, and actually before I get to that, there were a couple of trolls who would like set up ladders to nowhere. And I'm like, I never did that. I was like, that's kind of a dick move. I wouldn't do that. But I did do other dick moves, like, and I was stupid because I didn't read the instructions. So when you break down somebody's like structures, it tells you, hey, you'll break it down, but it'll still exist. And I missed that. So I'm like, I remember I would see these people with structure, or not the people, but I'd see their structures have all these likes because they really position them in great places. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking take it down and I'm gonna put my own structure right there, and I'll get the likes.
There you
And then
go.
I read online that it didn't work. I'm like, where the fuck did I miss that? And then there was a video on
Right.
YouTube. I'm like, oh, I didn't read that. Fuck.
And then you discover, oh, well, sorry. You discover
No, I
later
feel
that,
it, man. I'm getting tired myself.
that you don't really need the likes for anything. I mean, it builds
No.
your bridge link up, but that kind of comes naturally anyway. So, like, you don't really need to do that in the first place, but it is a dick move to do that, though.
Yeah, I think, but wasn't it you said you're like, man, that's some sinister ass shit.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's so fucked up that even I didn't think to do something like that. Like,
Yeah, I
it didn't
did.
even cross my mind. I'm like,
But it was a total fail.
Yeah, yeah, but still, the thought was there. Fucking prick.
That's fucking hilarious.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
dude. Like Gus was talking about zip lines, man. He did the whole first area, and then obviously you haven't gone for the platinum yet, but I did the whole second area, which it's the biggest area in the map, right? Like
Yeah.
the middle central region. I did all of it, and not only did I do all of it, I had like shortcuts to like certain places, so I didn't have to go like bounce around and do like a big loop. You know, it didn't take that long. The map was big, but it's not that big of a map in my opinion.
It's a very
Right.
Horizon-like map in terms of it looks huge, but when
But
you
it's-
traverse it, you're like, oh no, it's not that big.
No, but yeah, so I had everything, like shortcuts through the mountains and to get to like, if I had to make a delivery to like another part of the map and I wouldn't have to go around, you know what I mean? I was setting these zip lines up. Dude, I died like 5 times just because I'm climbing up these weird ass spots trying to get my in the right spot. And then I'd fall down the mountain and fucking die, dude. Like, happened to me like 8 times. And I would
That's funny.
it just setting up the zip lines was the greatest. Like, it was the most fun I had in the game. But yeah, I had this like elaborate zip line system going on, dude. It was fucking sick.
Did you run up against like any limits with the network with the bandwidth?
Yeah, a couple times. Not so much in the central region because thankfully, like I said, I was connected to a lot of people, so like I wouldn't have to build like an actual zip line to like the places. Like there would already be one like at like I don't know, say at the junk dealer or at the weather station or whatever. So I would just have to build one and tie into that, and like build kind of like some of the in betweens I'd have to build, but not all of them.
You
So
just
it's
jack in basically.
yeah. So
Right.
like using their zip lines and shit, but it helped. But I did run out. Once you level up the facilities, like you get a lot more, and then once that happens, you're good. So to anyone going for the platinum out there, you do not need to worry about the western part of the map. Those 2 facilities do not count towards the platinum. All you have to go there for are the memory chips. There's like 3 memory chips over there, 2 or 3 memory chips over there, and then you do not need to level up that cross hub. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Where it
towards
looks
the
like
end.
Yeah, you do not need it's just literally the first part of the map and then the second part of the map. So those 3 facilities do not count.
Before we wrap up here, I guess. What
Yeah.
it's not really part of the story or whatever. But was it a slog going through that platinum towards the end?
Towards the end, yeah, I did. I ran out of steam a little bit at the end, like the last like 10 hours or so, 15 hours, which isn't too bad if you think of like all the other shit you had to do in the game. Like I was having fun right up until that last little bit. So there's a few things I got frustrated with BT areas, and then I was getting really pissed because like one of the Legend of Legends deliveries are time deliveries. you have to do 20 of them and get like S rank on hard, which I played on hard anyway, so it didn't matter. But I would do these like time deliveries, and I'd do like a 20-minute delivery in like 3 minutes, and I'd still get an A rank for some fucking reason, and I still haven't figured it out. No damage to the package, nothing like that, and I'd still get an A rank. But eventually I did get it. But that is something you need to look out for.
Did you figure out what it was?
No, I have no idea.
Fucking bullshit.
I mean, I ended up getting 20 anyway, but like I probably did 40 or 30, 35 in that category before I finally got the 20th S rank. Oh man, I was getting fucking pissed. Like it was pissing me off. Yeah, but that's really it. So anyone going for the platinum, just look out for that.
Yeah.
And that was literally the last trophy I got, was getting my my delivery time point on the star to level 60. That was the last trophy I got, because everything else was level 60, but that was the last one I got.
Gotcha.
And that's when the platinum pops.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, so there is our Death Stranding spoiler.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Anything else you guys wanna add before we wrap up here?
Game of the year.
Game of the year. All you TMSG guys, I love you, but fuck you. Not a single team member, not a single one of you guys played it. So you know what? You have no class. None of you have any class. You are you cretins. You are
none
peasants.
of them played it.
Not a single.
What the hell have they been playing?
Even my AEG guys don't believe it. Even my AEG guys don't believe it. Not playing Death Stranding, not playing the best game of the year.
What the hell have they been playing?
Destiny, probably.
No, they're not playing Destiny. They're playing some other shit. Modern Warfare. I don't think they're playing, actually. I haven't seen them play in a long time.
Oh.
But still, you should play this shit.
Yeah, that's even more like
seriously.
that's even more of a stab. If they're not playing anything, then they should have played it.
My thing is, if you own a PlayStation 4, even if you don't think it's going to be the game for you, I urge you to try this game out.
Stick with it.
It deserves your time.
Stick with it. I am the outlier here. I hate it.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. And honestly, I didn't really care for it too much at the beginning either. And honestly, I was telling a couple of my friends and my girlfriend, like, I think like at like when I was about in chapter 6, 7, I was like, I think I'm done. I think I'm done with it. And then like I kind of like had a moment of self-reflection. I'm like, no, I need to stick through. I need to, at least push through, see if I can make it a little bit further. And then once I hit like chapter 8, 9, it really, picked up for me. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad I, pushed
There was a
through
moment in the game, and I think I speak for all of us. I know I speak for Dalton, because me and Dalton spoke about it privately, where I'm like, dude, how many more deliveries do I have to make before I get this damn BT? And he's like, yeah, dude, I hit that slog too. We got to go through this. You have to go through those fucking mountains, and you got to deliver to this person and that person. Those 3 people you have to deliver to right before you get the BT back.
BB.
And the BBs. And it didn't break me, but I got pissed. Like, it was the first time that I started talking bad about it. Like, oh, fuck this. Like, this is filler. This is bullshit. I'm not having fun. You're ruining it for me.
Right.
Now. I had so much fun.
100%. Absolutely agreed. Yep.
Dude. But I got through it. And then once I got through it, it was like, oh, okay, now through the valley of death, I'm good. Okay, now back to fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So please play this game. Just play it. And
yes.
Don't listen to like these fucking negative motherfuckers. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fine. But stick with it. You know what I mean? Like,
at least
don't be like me. Yeah, don't be like me. And like, because I came into the Discord and I was like, I'm not fucking finishing this game. I'm not fucking finishing this game. Fuck this game. I hate it. First 2 chapters. I'm sure these guys could prove it to you if they really wanted to. They could go back and see that I said that.
I tried hard. I was like,
dude, of us, but we understand I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think I was kind of a little bit hard on your ass, dude. I was like, go back, just play it, give it a shot, man. You're gonna like it. It'll open up. Yep. Just go back.
And then I did, and I was like, I even sent something in the Discord. I'm like, I'm gonna sit down. I might have said it to Goose privately. I don't know, but I was like, I'm gonna try this one more time. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna try this one more time. And if I don't, then I'm deleting it off my PlayStation and moving on. But then I stuck with it. And like you guys, I hit that slog in chapter 6, but there was never a moment in that chapter where I was like, I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm like, that never happened again after that initial time. Like once I started, I was like, I'm seeing this through to the end. So stick with this game. Play this game. It's incredible. It really is something else.
Fuck yeah, man. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. But thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you sticking with us and listening to us gush for the last, I don't know, hour at least about Death Stranding. We'll be definitely back here soon with more regular episodes of the show. We've kind of all talked about that behind the scenes, not to break the fourth wall or anything, but we're going to get back to it. I know, Goose, you committed us to our next episode.
Yes,
is going
I
to be
did.
celebrating the 25th anniversary of PlayStation, which happened this past week. But when we record our next episode, we will be basically talking about all our fondest PlayStation memories. So please stay tuned for that.
That'll be in about a week and a half, because next week we're gonna live stream the Game Awards, and we're gonna.
Look at you announcing more shit for us to do.
We'll be live on Twitch next week, next Thursday night for the Game Awards.
Yes,
I'm committing us, locking us down, so we will not have a proper show that week, but we will be right back on it with the 25 years of PlayStation show the following Monday.
Yep, absolutely. Sounds good to me. Well, thank you guys as always for listening, and until next time, we will see you here on the AEG show.